if you are a scrum master and you see your team is in chaos, people are fighting with each other, there are different kind of problem and conflicts exist, and they are talking with and they're trying to resolve it, and you walk away from that meeting or you walk away from that conversation saying, hey, this is a self-managed team, they should be able to get it over, they should be able to handle it. If not, they should learn how to do it because it's a self-managed team. What do you think? What should you do? Should you walk away or should you not? What happened to those managers? In case it's a self-managed team, we don't need managers. What do you think? Do you really need managers? Can the team break the rules of Scrum? It's a self-managed team. Can they? We'll find out the answers today. My name is Debopom Sanyal and I am your personal coach. When there is a chaos, when there is conflict, when there are conversation, and I or you or anyone as a leader of that team walks away from that conversation saying that this is a self-managed team and they should learn how to self-manage, we just neglected the team. We just found an excuse. We didn't do anything to that team, any help to that team. Now, self-managed team does not mean they do not need help. Self-managed team does not mean they do not need to be facilitated. Self-managed team does not mean they need not to be coached. Self-managed team does not mean they need not to be mentored. Self-managed team does not mean that one can just say, hey, they will learn. If that would have been the case, there would have been no formal position for leaders. We didn't need leaders because, well, people learn, right? But that's not the case. We need to help them to go to that position of self-management. We need to help them, and this could be a continuous process. Even though people get experience, even though people, yes, their role changes, their maturity changes, and with the maturity, the problem changes, right? So the consistent coaching, mentoring, consistent helping, facilitation remains with the leaders. So remember, self-managed team does not mean they do not need help. Does not mean they should fix everything by themselves. What about the managers? Don't they need managers? This is a complete wrong notion again. A self-managed team does not mean they do not need managers. Managers are very important, right? There should be managers, but the quality of management should be changed. The manager should become more of a leaders, not a micromanager who goes and comes and sees what people are doing. That should not be the role of a manager. Slowly, when the team matures, the manager should actually, come out of that tactical role and start filling the strategical role. They should become system thinker. They should try to help people. They should even become mentor. They should even become coaches for the team members, right? In order to help the team, in order to give them everything that they require to become successful team. So managers are always required. Self-managed team does not mean they do not need managers. The third point was, can they break rules? Can you? Can I? Can anyone break law? We are free citizen. Can I break law? I cannot. Can I break societal norms? I cannot. Can I break moral ethics conduct? I cannot. Why? These are all frameworks. These are all frameworks through which we live. Even though we are free, there is no absolute freedom to anyone, right? Because absolute freedom will create chaos. And that's why frameworks are necessary. That's why you are there through Scrum, which is a framework which helps you, guides you, navigates you through the path of empiricism to the value driven system. Now, can I break? You cannot. Because if you break, you are putting a hole to that system and bringing chaos in. And if you are bringing chaos in, you are destroying everything that you have built. So self-managed team does not mean absolute freedom. Absolute freedom is not available. Absolute freedom is non-existent in this world. It should be, because if there is an absolute freedom, there will be chaos, right? So similarly, in Scrum, you don't have absolute freedom. So remember, if you're self-managed, that does not mean you can break Scrum rules. It doesn't mean you don't need managers. It doesn't mean that people can just enjoy, they learn by themselves. They still need help, right? And that's a continuous improvement path where everybody needs to follow this path. Everybody needs to continuously improve, and the leaders, or particularly Scrum Masters, coaches, we need to help them to go to that path. We need to help them to create a self-sustaining system so that they can remain self-managed after they have, after they have achieved that feat. And not only that, it might fluctuate. It might, with influx of people, with outgoing, ingoing people, and all that stuff. It might fluctuate, and we need to go and help them whenever needed. Having said that, Scrum does not stop you to do experimentation. You must do experimentation in order to have good results in Scrum, and that's very important. Self management, and if when I say that, hey, don't break Scrum, that doesn't mean that you cannot do experimentation. This is a very important part. You need to keep you need to keep experimenting, and at the same time, use those lessons learned, because that's what empiricism is all about in Scrum. So remember, when I say don't break away from Scrum, does not stop you from doing experimentation. Courage to fail is very important, because when you have the courage to do something, remember what is failure. If you think that failure is that you haven't met your expected outcome, then there's a problem. That's not failure. Failure is when you stop trying. If you do not try, that's what failure is. So define your failure, define what experimentation is, define what success is for you, and that will lead you to a greater journey in Scrum than anything else. What if you need to break away from Scrum because that's the context, that's the demand of the team? If you have certain circumstances where following the Scrum, whatever there in the Scrum guide, does not suit you any longer, would you do the right thing? Perhaps. Perhaps that would be the requirement. Perhaps you need to do that. And it's okay. You are not wrong if you do that. The only thing is, probably you'll not be doing Scrum. And that's fine again. Because the ultimate goal is not to do Scrum. The ultimate goal is not to do some agile practices. The ultimate goal is to provide business value. And these are all different vehicles to reach there. If it doesn't work for you, if Scrum does not work for you, that's fine, that's okay. We can try something else which would work for us. So remember, this is not the ultimate goal. The ultimate goal is to provide business value to the customer. Overall, Scrum is a great process. In fact, some says the Scrum is a process to find your right process. So this is a very structured framework. Remember what framework is. Framework is a way of doing things. It gives you a very structured, very informative way of working by which you can achieve what you want to, right? And that might not be the only path that you have to follow all the time. I hope that helped. If you like the content, please like and subscribe, and put your comments down below, and I will see you soon.